Okay, let's go over this statistics review. A class was asked how many minutes a day they play video games at home. The numbers are listed in boxes below. The first thing I'm going to do is order these lowest to highest. That's why I had all this space here. Make sure that we are doing it slowly and we're not making mistakes. One mistake can throw it all off. Okay, so I like to add these numbers in groups. 20 plus 20 plus 20 is 60. 30 plus 30 plus 30 plus 30 is 120. 60 plus 60 is 120. And some quick calculations, 35 plus 40 plus 45 is another 120. If I add these numbers up, I'm going to get 420. 420 divided by 12 numbers, I'm going to get 35. Add them up, divide by the number of numbers. That's how you find the mean. Find the median. In this case, the median, there's going to be two numbers in the middle. So I'm going to count over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you have to do this a couple of times, that's fine. Okay? So there are two numbers in the middle, and they're both 30. So that means the median is going to be 30, because if I add 30 plus 30, I'm going to get 60. And if I divide 60 divided by 2, I'm going to get 30. Okay? Might not always be that way for the median. But if there are two numbers in the middle, add them together, divide them by 2. It's like finding the average of those two numbers. What is the range? The range is the highest number, which is 60, minus the lowest number, which is 20. And that's going to give us 40. What's the mode? The mode is the number that comes up the most. In that case, it is 30. What is the best measure of central tendency to use? The mean or median? Explain. I would use the mean, or the right answer is the mean, because there is no outlier. Okay? So if there was a student that had played video games for 200 minutes, that would be an outlier. Or even like 150 minutes, that would be an outlier. But in this case, between 20 and 60, there is no outlier. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Number of days students have missed from school in a trimester. All right, so again, lowest to highest. So 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. Okay, yeah, there were 3 ones, just double checking. And then we have 2, 2, 2, and 2. And then 3, 3. There are 2 4s. One 5. I'm gonna run out of space. 1 6 and 1 12. 5, 6, and 12. Okay. Find the mean. All right, these are pretty low numbers. Feel free to use your calculator. I added them up, got 48. And if I divide it by 16, the mean was 3. Find the median. The median's the number in the middle. So I'm going to count 7 over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 2 numbers in the middle. And again, if there's 2 numbers and they're the same, then that's going to be the median. So the median's going to be 2. If I wanted to add them up and divide, 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. The range. Well, we take the highest number, which is 12, subtract the lowest number, which is 0, and we're going to get 12 as the range. Find the mode. The mode is the number that comes up the most. In this case, the number that comes up the most is 2. What is the best measure of central tendency to use? The mean or median? Explain why. In this case, the best measure of central tendency to use is the median. Why is it the median? Because there's an outlier, and 12 is an outlier. Most kids miss between 0 days and 6, and one student missed double that, which was 12. So 12 was an outlier, and that would skew the data higher, would pull the information, pull the numbers higher. If you take a look at it, being that mean is 3, we can clearly see that most students did not miss 3 days of school. But because of this outlier was 12, it pulled the data higher. So in this case, we definitely would want to use the median, and the median was 2. It's a better measure of central tendency. All right, let's look at our first box and whisker graph. Okay, so a little review. All right, this is math test scores. So the lowest math test score, the lowest value is going to obviously be in the far left side, and the highest one is going to be on the far right side. So these numbers in the middle, okay? So the box is where most of the data falls. So most of the test scores fall between 72 and 96. 72 is what we call the first quartile. 88 is the median, and 96 is what we call the third quartile, okay? So 88, you can call it the second quartile or the median, and 96 is the third quartile. All right, what is the median of the test scores? The median of the test scores is 88. So this line in the middle, close to the middle of the box, is always going to be the median, and the median of these test scores was 88. What is the interquartile range? Big word. All it means is what was the range from within the box. So I have to take these two numbers, 96 minus 72, and I'm going to get 34. Okay? 34 was the range within the box. What is the highest test score? 102. That student must have got some extra credit. What is the lowest test score? 38. Okay. Does this test have an outlier? If so, did it skew or pull the average higher, which in the average, of course, is the mean, or lower? All right, so in this case, the outlier was 38. As you clearly can see, you have a score of 38, and then you have a long distance, okay, a long whisker, before you hit any other test scores. So it was 38, and it did skew the data, lower. Okay, without that score of 38, the average and the median would definitely be higher. All right. Now we're going to take a look. We have two box and whisker graphs. We're just going to answer some questions about them. And the last question is the comparison of the two. So what is the interquartile range for homework time? The interquartile range for homework time is, we take a look at this, take a look at the first quartile and the third quartile, and we subtract them. So 60 minus 20, and we're going to get 40. What is the median for homework time. The median for homework time, again, it's that line in the middle of the box. So that is 48. What is the interquartile range for TV time? The interquartile range of TV time, so I should take 110 minus 15. 110 minus 15, and that interquartile range for TV time is 95. What is the median for TV time? The median was 60. Okay. Which answer below is a correct comparison of the two box and whisker plots above? A, the median and interquartile range of homework time was higher than TV time. Well, I can just easily take a look. 48 was the median for homework time, okay? So, right there, 48. And the median for TV time was 60. We already answered those questions. That one cannot be true. Okay, so we can cross A out. TV time has a larger outlier, but a smaller median. So it's the TV time outlier is 225. The outlier for homework time was 190. So that part is true. But does TV time have a smaller median? Well, we sort of answered that question and then after taking a look at letter A. The median is 60 for TV time. So that one cannot be true. The median of homework time and TV time was equal. That is not true as well because the median was 48 for homework time and 60 for TV time. It has to be choice D. The median of TV time and the interquartile range was higher than homework time. That is correct. The median was 60. The interquartile range for TV time was 95. We already saw that, okay, looked at that. And the interquartile range of homework time was only 40. Choice D. Okay, science test scores. And we have our first dot plot. What is the range of the science test scores? Well, easy. 98 was the highest, 88 was the lowest, 98 minus 88 is 10, so the range was 10. What is the mode of the science test scores? Mode is the number that came up the most, and the test score that came up the most was 89. How many students scored a 97%? At 97%, there are 4 X's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 students. How many students scored a 92%? 92%, no one scored a 92%, so that's 0. Okay, let's answer this question. Which statement about the dot plot above is true? More students scored less than 89% than above 90%. So less than 89%, well, the only score that they scored less than 89% was 88%, and there was only 4 students that scored that, so that cannot be true. The data was skewed because there was an outlier. Well, there was no outlier. The percent scores fell between 88 and 98. That's only 10% points. There is no outlier. And cross out B. More students scored higher than 90% than lower. So we would have to count them up. So higher than 90%. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 14 scored higher. How many scored 90% or lower? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that one is correct. 14 scored higher than 90%. And, sorry about this, 13 scored lower. Choice C. take a look at D, more students scored higher than a 93%. So higher than a 93. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so it's not going to be choice D. In the next problem, we have two dot plots. We're going to answer some questions about the dot plots and then compare them with question 22. In this one, let's just read the question. Mrs. Andrews surveyed the students in her math classes and found out how many minutes each one studied for the last test. She created a dot plot for first period and for second period. What is the range of study time for Mrs. Andrews' first period class? So I take the highest number, which is 60, subtract the lowest number, and I'm going to get 60. What is the range of study time for Mrs. Andrews' second period class? Well, it's 60 minus 0, and 60 minus 0 is 60. Okay. What is the mode or modes of Mrs. Andrews' first period class? Her first period class, the modes are 10 and 15. So we have to be careful with this. Not all parts of this number line are labeled, so we have to know what's halfway between 0 and 10. Halfway between 0 and 10 is 5. So these ticks on this line are going up by 5. So what is the mode or modes of this first period class? 10 and 15 are both the modes. Remember, there could be more than one mode. If there's a tie, there could be more than one mode. What is the mode or modes of Mrs. Andrews' second period class? Well, the number that comes up the most is 30. There's only one mode for that. Second period class. Which answer is a correct comparison of the two classes? Second period has a higher mean and range than period 1. Well, just taking a look at second period, okay? We sort of have this like hill of scores, right? That goes up and down. Whereas in first period, the scores are more in the lower range, okay? So if I just take 30, for example, okay, most scores are lower than 30. About half the scores are 30 or higher in second period. So the first part of that is correct, okay? The second period has a higher mean. But does it have a higher range? The range for both of the classes is 60. So it does not have a higher range. So I'm going to cross out A. More students in period 1 studied for 25 minutes than in period 2. Well, here is 25 minutes, okay, right there. And 25 minutes for second period is right here. Clearly you can see that 4 people studied in period 2 and only 2 studied in the first period for 25 minutes. So it cannot be choice B. All right, how about choice C? The mode was higher for period 1. The mode was 10 or 15, but the range was lower. So the mode for second period was 30. The mode for first period was 10 or 15. So that is not correct. Okay, has to be choice D. The mean or average of period 2 is higher than period 1, but the range was the same. Well, again, the mean was higher because most of the scores, okay, fell in the lower range in first period, okay, where they were evenly spread out in second period. And the range, was the range the same? Yes, it was. The range for both of them were 60. So it had to be choice D.